The bell above the glass door jingled as Marcus Carter, a 16-year-old black teenager, stepped into the corner grocery store. The place smelled faintly of coffee and detergent, the kind of shop where locals came every day for milk, bread, and small talk. Marcus wore a clean hoodie and jeans, earbuds tucked into his pocket. He had come to pick up a loaf of bread and a bottle of orange juice for his mom. But the moment he entered, he felt it, eyes on him. Behind the counter, a white store clerk in his 30s nudged his coworker and muttered loud enough for Marcus to hear, "Keep an eye on this one. Looks like trouble." Marcus's chest tightened, but he said nothing. He had experienced this before, the stares, the assumptions, the silent accusations that seemed to follow him anywhere outside his own neighborhood. As he walked down the aisle, the clerk left the counter and began following him. Every time Marcus reached for an item, the man pretended to straighten the shelves nearby, watching closely as if waiting for him to slip something into his pocket. Marcus grabbed a loaf of bread. He could feel the man's breath just a step behind him. He reached for a bottle of juice, the clerk's eyes narrowed. Finally, Marcus turned, his voice calm but firm. "Do you need something? Or are you just going to follow me all over the store?" The clerk smirked. "Just doing my job. You kids think you're slick, but not in my store." Marcus clenched his jaw, refusing to rise to the bait. He carried his items to the register, the clerk practically on his heels. To anyone else, it looked like a normal shopping trip. But to Marcus, every step was a reminder. They didn't see him as a customer. They saw him as a suspect. And that wound cut deeper than the man behind him could ever understand. Marcus placed the loaf of bread and the bottle of orange juice on the counter, sliding a crumpled $10 bill from his pocket. He just wanted to pay and leave, to escape the heavy gaze that had followed him through every aisle. But the clerk didn't ring up the items right away. Instead, he crossed his arms and leaned forward, his voice dripping with suspicion. "Empty your pockets." Marcus froze. "What?" "You heard me," the clerk said, raising his voice loud enough for the other customers in the store to turn and stare. "Let's see what you've stuffed in there. I know kids like you. Always trying to steal." Marcus felt his face flush hot with embarrassment. Shoppers whispered among themselves. A mother pulled her little boy closer, glancing at Marcus as if he really might be a thief. He swallowed hard, his voice trembling but steady. "I didn't take anything. All I have is money for what I'm buying." The clerk smirked, clearly enjoying the attention. "Then prove it. Show everyone." The room was silent, all eyes on him. Marcus's hands shook as he turned out his pockets one by one, empty. Not a single stolen item. Just the $10 bill he had already placed on the counter. A few customers shifted uncomfortably, realizing what had just happened. But no one said a word. Marcus picked up his bread and juice after paying, his dignity feeling smaller than the bag he carried. As he walked out, the clerk called after him with mock sweetness, "Have a nice day." Outside, Marcus stopped for a moment on the sidewalk. His fists clenched at his sides, his chest tight. The humiliation stung, not just because he had been accused, but because everyone else had watched and let it happen. He whispered to himself, barely audible, "One day, I'll show them who I really am." And with that, he walked home, carrying not just groceries, but a quiet fire building inside him. Marcus sat at the kitchen table, the loaf of bread and bottle of orange juice resting beside him. His mother glanced at him from the stove, her brow furrowed. "You were quiet," she said softly. "What happened at the store?" Marcus hesitated. He didn't want to upset her, but the weight of the humiliation pressed too heavily on his chest to keep it in. "They thought I was stealing," he finally said, his voice low. "The clerk followed me the whole time. Made me empty my pockets in front of everyone. People just stared." His mother's lips tightened, anger flickering in her eyes. She walked over and rested a hand on his shoulder. "Baby, I'm sorry. You don't deserve that." His father, sitting at the head of the table, put down his newspaper. He was a broad-shouldered man with calm, steady eyes, the kind that had seen his share of struggles and overcome them. "Son," he said firmly, "what they did was wrong. But remember this, how they see you is not who you are." Marcus's jaw tightened. "I hate it. I hate that no matter what I do, people look at me like I'm a criminal." His father leaned forward. "Then show them you're not. Show them you're greater than their prejudice." His mother nodded. "Turn their insult into your strength." For a moment, the kitchen was quiet, the only sound the faint ticking of the wall clock. Then his father added, almost thoughtfully, "You know that store's been struggling for years. The owner's been looking to sell. What if, instead of letting them keep treating us this way, we bought it?" Marcus blinked in surprise. "Bought it? Us?" His father smiled faintly. "Why not? We've worked hard. We have the savings. We can make that store ours, and run it the right way. No suspicion. No prejudice. Just respect." Marcus sat up straighter, his humiliation slowly transforming into something else: hope. Determination. He whispered, half to himself, half to his parents, "If they won't see me as more than a suspect, then I'll make them see me as the owner." And that was the night the plan began. 2 weeks later, the familiar jingle of the shop's doorbell rang again. But this time, Marcus didn't walk in alone with a hoodie and pocket money. He walked in beside his father, dressed in a crisp suit, with their family's lawyer carrying a thick folder of documents. The clerk looked up from behind the counter and froze. His smirk from that humiliating day was gone, replaced with a flicker of confusion. "You again?" he muttered. "Here to cause trouble?" Marcus's father stepped forward, his voice calm but commanding. "No. We're here for business." From the back office, the store's owner, an older man with weary eyes and worry etched into his face, emerged. He greeted them cautiously, shaking the lawyer's hand. They all sat down at a small table near the window, papers spread across the surface. The clerk hovered nearby, trying to listen, his face tightening as the words floated to him. Purchase agreement. Transfer of ownership. Final signatures. It didn't take long. The owner, buried in debt and eager to sell, signed the last page with a shaky hand. The lawyer gathered the papers neatly and handed a copy to Marcus's father. "It's official," the lawyer said. "The Carters are now the legal owners of this store." Marcus couldn't stop the smile spreading across his face. He glanced at the clerk, who stood rooted to the spot, his jaw slack. Just 2 weeks ago, this man had treated him like a thief. Now, he would be working for the very family he had humiliated. The clerk sputtered, This can't be real. He's just a kid." Marcus's father turned to him, steady and firm. "He's not just a kid. He's my son. And this is our store now. If you can't respect the people who walk through those doors, then you won't have a place here." The clerk's face turned pale. The balance of power had shifted so completely, it left him speechless. Marcus stood tall, his heart racing with pride. He wasn't the boy they followed through aisles anymore. He was the son of the new owners, and soon, he would help transform this place into something greater. The next morning, the little corner store was buzzing with whispers. Regular customers walked in expecting the same old place, but instead, they found new faces behind the counter, Marcus's mother greeting them warmly, Marcus himself stocking shelves with quiet pride, and his father reviewing paperwork in the office. Word traveled fast through the neighborhood. "Did you hear? The Carters bought the store." "No way. That family owns it now? About time someone turned this place around." By noon, it wasn't just regulars who came in. Curious neighbors, friends, even a few local reporters stopped by to see the change with their own eyes. They were greeted not with suspicion, but with smiles and respect. And in the corner, slumped behind the register, was the clerk. His face was pale as he watched customer after customer congratulate the Carters. Just days ago, he had treated Marcus like a criminal. Now, the boy was walking through the aisles with authority, welcomed by the very people who once looked on in silence. When one of the reporters asked Marcus's father about the decision to buy the store, he answered simply, "We were tired of being treated like outsiders in our own community. This store belongs to everyone now, and it will be run with fairness and respect." The crowd nodded in agreement, murmurs of approval filling the air. The clerk shifted uncomfortably, remembering his sneer, his accusations, the way he had forced Marcus to empty his pockets. Now every customer who passed gave him side glances, not of respect, but of disappointment. For the first time, he realized the truth. In trying to put Marcus in his place, he had only revealed his own prejudice. And now, the boy he had humiliated was in a position of power he could never have imagined. The Carter family wasted no time reshaping the store. Within a week, the dull gray walls were repainted in bright, welcoming colors. Shelves were reorganized, the aisles widened, and a new sign hung proudly above the entrance, Carter's Market, a store for everyone. From the moment the doors opened under new ownership, the atmosphere was different. Customers were greeted with warm smiles instead of suspicious stares. Elderly neighbors received help carrying groceries to their cars. Children got free fruit at the counter. Prices were lowered on essentials, making the store a place people could rely on, not fear. Marcus worked alongside his parents after school, stocking shelves and bagging groceries. But unlike before, people didn't avoid his gaze or whisper behind his back. They smiled at him, thanked him, and treated him with respect. For the first time, he felt the weight of pride instead of humiliation when stepping into that building. As for the clerk, things changed quickly. Marcus's father had been clear: here, respect is not optional. If you can't treat every customer with dignity, you can't work here. Forced to adapt, the clerk now worked quietly, no longer strutting with suspicion or throwing accusatory glances. Every time he saw Marcus walk past in his store apron, he felt a sting of shame. The boy he once mocked as a thief was now his boss's son, and a symbol of the change sweeping through the store. Customers noticed too. "This place feels different," one woman said as she checked out. "Safer. Kinder. Better." And they were right. The Carter family had turned a shop once poisoned by prejudice into a beacon of community. The grand reopening of Carter's Market became the talk of the town. Flyers had been posted on lampposts, announcements made at local churches and schools, and by the afternoon the sidewalk outside the store was packed with people. Families gathered, children tugged at their parents' hands, and even the local news crew set up cameras to capture the moment. A brand new banner stretched across the storefront: "Grand Reopening, a store for everyone." The mayor arrived to cut the ribbon, but all eyes were on the Carter family standing proudly at the entrance. Marcus, wearing a clean store apron with the Carter's Market logo embroidered across it, held the giant scissors alongside his father. His mother stood beaming, and his younger sister clapped excitedly, soaking in the crowd's cheers. As the ribbon fell and applause erupted, Marcus's father gestured for his son to step forward. "Go on, son. This is your moment." Marcus's heart pounded, but he took a deep breath and walked up to the microphone. The crowd grew quiet, waiting. He looked out at the sea of faces, some familiar, some strangers, and felt the weight of his journey pressing against his chest. "A few weeks ago," he began, his voice steady but emotional, "I came into this store just to buy some bread and juice. Instead, I was followed, accused, and humiliated. I was treated like a thief, even though I had done nothing wrong." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. People nodded, remembering the incident that had spread through the neighborhood. "But today," Marcus continued, his eyes bright, "I stand here with my family, not as a suspect, but as an owner. This store belongs to us now. And more importantly, it belongs to all of you. No one will ever walk through these doors and feel unwanted. No one will ever be judged for the color of their skin. In this store, everyone will be treated with respect." The applause started softly, then swelled until the entire crowd was cheering. Some people whistled, others clapped so hard their hands turned red. Tears welled in his mother's eyes as she pulled Marcus into a hug. Even the clerk, standing off to the side in his uniform, bowed his head. For the first time, he seemed to truly grasp the magnitude of what had happened. As the celebration carried on, with free food, music, and laughter spilling onto the street, Marcus looked up at the new sign above the store. The bold letters gleamed in the afternoon sun. Carter's Market, a store for everyone. And for the first time since that painful day, Marcus felt not just vindicated, but proud. His humiliation had turned into triumph, and his story had become a lesson the entire town would never forget.